everybody hear me well? Everybody hear me? Okay. Now I have a question I'm going to start off with, and anybody who knows me knows that it's not simply going to be a question, so I have some criteria. So my first question is going to require that you provide an answer without speaking. My first question here is, how's everybody doing? Good. Okay, hold on, we're going to start. So the requirement is to provide an answer without speaking. So here we go. How's everybody doing? That's beautiful. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. She's okay. Oh, those are beautiful teeth. Those are beautiful teeth. Beautiful teeth. Okay. So I have one more question. And this one may be combined into two, depending on how the first one is answered. So just quickly, by show of hands, how many scientists do I have? How many scientists in the room? Scientists? Science majors? Science majors? Ooh, okay. All of them right here. Got a few over here. Okay, how about some science novices? Like people who don't really know about science, but you like think you know about it, kind of just entering sciences now? People kind of, okay, how about just theoretical science? Like you don't know anything about science, but you do kind of like it. You do kind of, you like to say you like it. Yep. Okay, beautiful. How about, let's switch it up. Say believers. How many believers we got? Okay, all right, there we go. We got some believers. This is good. Okay. We got some believer novices, some people who kind of entering, just get to know a little bit. No, wait, no. What about some theoretical believers? Those who just really don't know, but you'd like to just say you're a part of something, no? Well, when you get to that, you can kind of be like just a little, no? No? Okay, that's fine. Now, today, I'm supposed to be speaking on a wonderful topic. The topic is true to our God, true to our native land.
All right.
Good topic. It's a good topic. So a little over a week ago, I was sitting down with my brother Christopher McCroy, who is the president of the Martin Luther King Chapel Assistance Program. And he asked me, he said, Trey, would you be honored, or we'd be honored if you would come speak at our first Sunday of February, Black History Month, coincidentally Super Bowl Sunday. And of course, I took the honor and I said thank you. And before I could even get the "you" out of my lips, I was thinking, what am I about to preach about? Like, it should be interesting. So I'm supposed to be preaching on the first Sunday of Black History Month, with a topic such as true to our God and true to our land. So it took me some time. And I kept looking at the phrase and I tried to figure out what is it about this phrase that pushes the most emphasis to me. And so, as a scientist myself, I looked at frequency and I said, well, there's a word in here that is said multiple times and it's true. So I said, okay, well, what is the criteria for true? Especially when it says true to our God and true to our native land. So I looked through some previous notes I had taken, some books, some articles, and watched a few TED Talks. Anybody familiar with TED people? Watched a few TED Talks, and seemingly everything that I had written, watched, read, was connected to the topic of trueness.
Yeah.
But then I ran into my second problem. How do I connect this to our God, to our native land? This was the difficulty. So I looked to family. I had a conversation with actually my grandmother and my father. A three-way call, actually. It was something like this. I was on the phone. I said, well, Nani, Dad, I'm going to be speaking this Sunday. And my grandmother, she enters first, and she's, well, boo, do your thing now. I love you. I know you got it. Total contrast. And my dad came in like, well, man, you know how this thing goes. The intention. Do what you know to do. You got this. And while those sentiments of support were great and they were encouraging, I left the conversation just where I had started. I had no answer for how to bring trueness to our God and to our native land. So then, after a wonderful afternoon of an enriching class experience with the wonderful Dean Carter in Psychology of Religion, which I'm taking this semester, I had a word that touched me, one word. This word was discipline. Oh yeah, I got it, huh? Discipline. Now, I can rightfully assume that everybody in here has a fair understanding of what this word discipline means, right? So I can see like over here, we have this association with like negative consequences, right? And then over here, we have trouble, right? And then probably right here, we have punishment, pain. You know, I know a nice popular connotation is discipline is mainly retrospective, right? So we look at something that we've done or something someone else has done wrongfully, and discipline is what happened to them afterward, right? Yeah. But then I realized that, I asked myself a question, I said, the way that I'm understanding discipline in this course, there is no ramifications, repercussions, or reparations that need to be paid. And so, standing here today, I want to offer a new idea for all who can hear. Discipline. Could it be that we have used this word in hindsight so much that we only see it when it's being corrected to a visual problem? Could it be that we've compromised its function by allowing it to only be used under harsh correction? Could it be that its true utility was never to hurt, but actually to heal and promote growth? Could it be that it's meant to get those that are lost and missing the mark and out of tune with reality back to a place of peace, a place of completion, and a place where they're able to listen to all of the good news that the world has to offer?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So I took some time, engaged myself in some much needed introspection, and I searched my mind to pinpoint the key moments in my life where I had experienced discipline. Yeah. Much expected, I discovered that every incident that I could recall, which I thought that I experienced discipline, was due to my lack of intentionality or lack of consideration for others, my surroundings, or my things, my possessions. So the goal was set. Today, I'm filled with the task to convince everyone in this room that to be true to your God and to be true to your native land, it requires discipline. So, as I mentioned earlier, as a science novice, I often scan the pages of textbooks and peer-reviewed journals in hopes of discovering a great revelation about life, the world, and the nature that binds the two. Yeah. Over the past couple years, though, I've seen this dichotomy about the content of scientific literature. An idea that seems to permeate this public perspective. There's an impression that the natural sciences, with their rigid empirical data collection and vast nomenclature, are inherently more difficult than the more and seemingly easier eclectic and anecdotal methods of social sciences. But as a student of Morehouse, I've been exposed to quite a few types of sciences, and I've definitely felt that discipline. I remember when I was in chemistry, studying the elements and searching for ideal reactions, I felt some discipline. Yeah. And I definitely felt discipline when I was tackling mathematics and physics, because see, there's no formula that has the answer, but every single one is used in the steps towards the solution. Yeah. See, there was more discipline even when I stepped into biology. Where's my I saw bio, where's bio? There's bio back there. There was more discipline when I stepped into biology as I diligently honed on the semantic and rote memory skills, which I sought to discover the relationships on how life is to form, to be, and to end. But that wasn't it. I began to look past the sciences, and I saw that there was discipline in learning English, figuring out how to use linguistic devices to communicate ideas. I saw there was discipline in sociology, seeing how the human experience not only is shaped, but shapes sociological constructs. Yeah. I saw the discipline in investment when studying economics and government. Yeah. But then I also saw the discipline in decision-making while studying history. And I certainly acknowledge the discipline of different belief systems while studying religion and philosophy. As a believer myself, I put forth my best effort to practice a life of intentionality and deliberate appreciation. I feel the discipline when I'm valuing my relationships and holding my family close. I notice the difference in my attitude when I'm not in good standing with my loved ones. And best believe, they'll make sure I feel that discipline. Since 2010, when I began to only consume what I know nourishes my body, a little something I call Tre'Von, if y'all interested in that. Just a little something, Tre'Von, so it's Tre in front of vegetarian. I don't know if y'all connect. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna get back to it. So I noticed that I try my best to be considerate. I try my best to be considerate. I'm gonna get this one more time. I try my best to be considerate. Yeah. Now I had a conversation with my brother Darian Jones, and we had a conversation about what all them Morehouse preachers preach about, right?
Yes, sir.
And I would be remiss if I went through today without talking about the special focus to be a Morehouse speaker. Because see, we have to be considerate for those that are not going to consider the lives of our queer brothers and sisters. We got to be considerate for those that are not going to consider the vast amounts of love languages that there are in this world. We got to be considerate of what the privilege is of being a man in this Western culture. We got to be considerate about how much yellow tape the law enforcement seems to use to deal with colored lives. We have to be considerate when we're thinking about individuals who wear hijabs, when they wear dashikis, dreadlocks, tattoos, turbans, beards, and braids. We got to be considerate that even though there are 6,500 languages spoken today, that maybe, just maybe, there's more than one way to say God. So I sat and I thought to myself, I came to some axioms, some conclusions, some definitions, and one of them was that science, I've learned, is merely a method for discovering truth, but it requires discipline. I sat down and I saw that religion, and I noticed this one, I had to see this one, it's when you see a life being practiced with truth. And as you all can assume, it needs discipline. But discipline is not simply a means to an end. This message should not be misunderstood. I'm going to say it one more time. Discipline is not simply the means to the end. One does not simply perform or act under a certain discipline and expect fruitful results. Truth is not a commodity. It cannot be traded, earned, or manipulated. It's filtered, yes, and misused, yes, often. But relative, never. Understanding that truth has little to do with products and outcomes, discovering, which I use to describe science, and practice, which I use to describe religion, have almost explicably to do with process. It is the process that allows someone to see, to think, and to believe that something is true. See, the older I get, and the more obedient to truth I become, I tend to eliminate my personal peculiarities and realize that my similarities with others are much more valuable. From a very young age, I saw the importance of a smile. It's this almost universal way of communicating contentment. You look at a baby with no formal understanding of how to communicate, and you'll notice that they're born with this ability to smile. If we take that same baby, we'll notice that without any teaching, it also contains another ability. Discipline. And a prime example is they develop this neck muscle now. Hold up, I apologize for my ignorance, for all of those in here who may be more anatomically savvy. But I'm going to just do this. I'm going to say this neck muscle right here. All right? We're just going to go with that right there. But here's my point. At an early age, a baby makes a decision. He uses his, or she, uses their natural discipline to use this said muscle. And it is important that because although keeping one's head up requires a lot of energy, effort, and consistency, the cost of living with your head down might be a little bit more steep. So the importance of discipline is within its purpose. Discipline used correctly does not look like pain, pity, and cause pout. It looks more like parameters, perseverance, and power. The value of discipline is not in the end game, the end products, or the credibility. The value is your responsibility. Being able to stand during life's hard moments and not simply being able to fix life's uncomfortable situations. It is here that I'd like to introduce some help from a brother of mine named Matthew in a book that he wrote. I'll be referring from the old English Standard Version, and I will be using the verses 24 through 27, but I need to create some quick context for a moment. Now, Jesus at this point, and I should say that this is my favorite book, Jesus at this point has left the masses and has gone up the mountain with his disciples. Right. And he is speaking on many topics. My favorite, Matthew 5, the Beatitudes. But in this particular section, he's speaking about judging others, self-sufficiency, consideration, being disciplined, and being a fruit-bearing person, knowing fruit-bearing people. And before he goes on, he enters this last point of what it means to know. I do not know you by what you say. I know you by what you do. And so before that, we get into this right here. And this is what he says. He says, everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built a house on a rock.
Help us today.
The rain fell, the floods came, the winds blew and beat on that house, but it didn't fall. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain will fall, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell. And great was its fall. If that's not pragmatically and scientifically put, then I don't know what it is. Built on sand, lose your shelter. Built on a rock, keep your shelter. Now let me talk to some scientists real quick. Scientists, be not misinformed. Your discipline is valid and your work is important, but do not forget that you need to learn how to practice a life of truth. And this is not done alone, nor is it done through social acceptance, but keep asking questions and allow truth through discipline to provide your answer. Believers, be not misinformed. Your power is awesome and your diligence is commendable, but do not forget that you need to study to learn how to discover truth. You need to know how so that you can see empirically. You need to believe so that you can be. There's a difference between thinking something is true and living something that is true. We have all fallen victim of misusing our discipline. But I have a charge for us today. Just for us. Just for us. Here we go. Let's be proactive today. Starting today. Let's be intentional about our moves today. This is the hard one. Let's be considerate today. And lastly, let's be so bold as to do it all over again so that we may provide the relevant and sufficient truth that somebody else might need to use. I am absolutely in love with the way that I live. The life was given to me, but the choice was made by me. I'm here to tell all of you that your life is undeniably enough. Amen.